The Dark Souls trilogy has combined 122 achievements. In this video, I wanted to explore each of these games and rank them based on how enjoyable the experience of 100%ing these games was. Side note, real life Paul here to give you some rough guidelines on how this is kind of gonna work, rather than give an arbitrary score for each of the game just based on how I was feeling. I'm going to consider 3 arbitrary factors instead, especially because across most of the games, the achievements are very similar. So, we're going to talk about these particular factors. Number 1, do they feel natural to get? Number 2, are they fun to get? And number 3, is it worth my time getting? Like, am I just wasting hundreds of hours for something that's not really fun or enjoyable? You know, that whole shtick. Then I'm going to go rate them out of 10, and then combine those 3 scores together. They're going to get a score out of 30, and then I'm going to rank the games like, think pedestal ranking type thing. Stay tuned for the rankings at the end of the video, because I can guarantee you the games are not going to place how you think they will. So, without further ado, let's actually get into Dark Souls 1 has a very strong sense of progression when it comes to its main stake achievements. Arriving in Lordvessel or arriving in Anor Londo. They make sense where they are, unlocking them is natural, and the same goes for a bunch of their bosses as well. Defeating Seath the Scaleless, the 4 Kings, Gravelord Nito, Bed of Chaos. It makes sense you're shown where they are, especially once you get the Lordvessel. Also, another fantastic achievement and worth talking about. Ordinarily, as I'm sure every Dark Souls player absolutely knows by now, you can teleport normally, but in Dark Souls 1, teleporting is something that is very much earned. It is only unlocked once you beat one of the hardest bosses in the game, Ornstein and Smough. So the Lordvessel achievement very much feels like you have to earn it, and because of this, the ability to teleport feels more rewarding once you unlock it. However, it's not all fun and games when it comes to natural progression. There are a few little complaints I do have, which I think kind of reduce how natural it feels to get a few of these achievements. For example, getting Gwyndolin. Gwyndolin is super hidden. There are 2 ways to get to Gwyndolin. Gank Gwynevere, or you find the super cool ring in the catacombs. And the ring is also super hidden within the catacombs. So it's very unlikely that you will find this boss. It's very unlikely that you will even find this covenant, the Darkmoon covenant, because you need Gwyndolin to get the Darkmoon covenant, and getting all covenant related items is also part of other achievements. So that's a little bit annoying. Another out of the way one which doesn't fully feel as natural to get is the Dragon Covenant. It's all the way at the bottom of the world at Ash Lake. Now, you're kind of hinted towards that there's something in this rough vicinity. There's like the big tree in the swamp, but again, you have to go through the swamp. It's not really the greatest path, and even if you get to it, you have to go behind 2 secret walls, right? So unless you're already going this with the knowledge that it exists, it's very out of the way, so I kind of have to deduct a few points there. And then there's other notable achievements, such as maxing out each individual weapon type. Not only do you have to get the best weapon, but you also have to find the proper ember and find the proper blacksmith that will take the ember. There are 4 blacksmiths in the game. Each of them do particular different types of weaponry. Getting these lets you talk to each individual blacksmith and see what they all have to offer, which is kind of cool. It's not just about maximizing the weapon, but it's also about experiencing more of the world, so absolute bonus points there. And now, simultaneously, the best and worst achievement from this entire game is Knight's Honor. I've talked about this a bunch in the Dark Souls 1 video where I ranked each individual achievement and went more into depth about that there. So if you're curious about that and how I feel about every single one of these achievements, absolutely feel free to watch that video. It'll be up in the little icon there and in the description as well. The TLDR of Knight's Honor is there are a lot of weapons in this game and you have to get essentially all of them. It's a solid achievement, but it takes a lot of time. Overall, the achievements are fairly fun and enjoyable to get, with a few exceptions. Do they feel natural to get? Yeah, fair enough. Most of them feel pretty natural to get, so I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10. Are they fun to get? Are these achievements fun to get? Yeah, I'd say a solid amount of them are, but there is a solid amount of grinding to get, which is not fun. I'll probably also give it a 7 out of 10. And finally, is it worth getting every single achievement just to say that, hey, I 100%ed Dark Souls 1. Kind of. It takes so long to get all of the weapons unless you have the best luck in the world. It can genuinely feel like a chore sometimes. It's fantastic when you get the achievement, but it is not worth your time in the slightest. And honestly, because of that, I'm gonna drag it down to like a 5 out of 10. So overall, Dark Souls 1 gets a 19 out of 30. Pretty solid. But how does Dark Souls 2 compare in comparison? Dark Souls 2 is particularly interesting because it has a slight deviation for how it approaches its achievements. It has the basic ones, such as getting your Covenant, getting key story beats, and getting key bosses as well. The main deviation that I thought was fascinating that neither game does except Dark Souls 2 is it has a surprising amount of achievements for the important NPCs. There's a heavy focus on quest lines. A good portion of these NPCs are in Majula, so you're likely to talk to them. So, as a result, it feels natural to progress them. Ordinarily, I wouldn't bring up Covenants. But there is one Covenant that I thought was worth talking about, and that is the Clangorous Covenant. Now, this isn't necessarily for finding the Covenant. That's pretty easy to do. The interesting thing is what the Covenant gets you, which is Hidden Weapon. The strategy involves ganking every single enemy in the area 7 times, so they no longer spawn. Then you use the Unveil sorcery in order to find one specific enemy, so that way you can gank them 30 times until you get enough Covenant clout. I just thought that was a very interesting solution. Otherwise, every other achievement is pretty much the same. A good portion of them are pretty easy to get. However, I will have to dock points because finding where you have to go sometimes is kind of annoying and not as intuitive as Dark Souls 1. A lot of the areas that you need to go to stem from Majula, but even from Majula, they're kind of hidden as well, which is like, why? Like, there are 4 ways you can go from Majula, and I guarantee you'll probably only find maybe 1 or 2. But otherwise, it is perfectly fine, I think. Do these achievements feel natural to get? I would say, weirdly enough, they feel incredibly natural to get. Once you find where you need to go, they make sense where they are. A lot of the quest lines make sense, a lot of where the Covenants are makes sense. As confusing as the initial bit in Majula can be, it is pretty easy to be on your merry way and continue as planned. Because of that, I am going to give Dark Souls 2 a 6 out of 10 for feeling natural to get. Now, are they fun to get? Mostly. They are mostly fun to get, and unlike Dark Souls 1, a lot of it doesn't come down to getting maximum weapons or duplicating items. There is a little bit of grinding involved. However, the grinding is usually unique. Overall, I think because of this, and because there are more unique ways of obtaining achievements, I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Is it worth my time getting them? A good portion of the NPC quests, as much as I do like them, they do take a good bit of time. So does the grinding. And the game itself is not a quick game either. However, the quests are incredibly fun, and I would say that they very much are worth your time because you explore more of the world. You understand more of the NPCs around you. You understand the characters around you. Like, you find a guy in a cave only to find out that he really loves maps, and if you do his quest, you'll end up mapping the entirety of the Dranglaic area, which is insane. So because of this, I'm genuinely going to give this an 8 out of 10, giving Dark Souls 2 a total score of 24 out of 30, beating Dark Souls 1. But now, let's get into the final game, Dark Souls 3. I think this game fundamentally made me question why the hell I even like collecting achievements at all. Right off the bat, Dark Souls 3, a good portion of the achievements do not feel natural to get in the slightest. In terms of your lovely optional bosses, both the old Demon King and Osiris, both optional bosses, both with achievements linked to them, are in areas that are either completely missable or in areas that are completely stupid to find. Demon King, right? Old Demon King, how do you get them? Well, if you remember the catacombs earlier, there's this one area. There's a cool rickety little bridge you can get to. You cross it and you can be on your way. But, of course, you can break it. You hit it and it just crumbles. But did you know you can go down that bridge? There's not really an easy indication to let you know. And again, unless you know you can go down that bridge like a goddamn ladder, you're going to miss not only a completely optional area, you're going to miss the entirety of Demon Ruins, you're going to miss out on a core part in completing one of the endings, and you're going to miss out on this boss. It is incredibly out of the way. It is not clear that you can go here at all, and it's in the catacombs. So overall, not a great combo right there. And then Osiris, god damn. Osiris, to get to him, it's in a completely optional area. Once you beat Dancer of the Boreal Valley, the game kind of ushers you into a location where, hey, here's where the rest of the game is, go this way. But if you go left, you will find an entirely different part of the castle. And going through here will get you to Osiris. Congratulations, fantastic. Not obvious, it's kind of tucked away. Finding it, if you're really good at exploring, maybe you'll find it. It's really not, it is not the best to find. And on top of that, Osiris also guards the entrance to 2 other completely hidden stupid things. If you want to get another ending, that's right, 2 of the 4 kind of endings are completely hidden and are not easy to find. Osiris guards the way to the Untented Graves, which is like the first area in the game, but dark. You go through there, you're gonna find Firelink, but it's all kind of decrepit and dark, and only Grandma's there. And in here, yet again, if you want to get another ending, you have to find the secret Firekeeper eyeballs, which are behind, yet again, another hidden wall. Whoop-de-doo. And on top of this, along this area, after Osiris, you also have the potential to get a gesture. But this gesture is very important because it unlocks yet again another hidden area in the game that you would never think to go unless you link together the 2 most stupidly far dots known to man. If you choose to meditate with this gesture, at this particular point, you will magically teleport to Archdragon Peak, where there's even more game, and then you get to fight Nameless King and a whole bunch of other achievement-related tomfoolery. My point, this is the game where it feels the least natural to find a good portion of boss achievements, exploration achievements, overall world exploration. It's odd. It's gonna get the lowest score of 5 out of 10. Are they fun to get? No, they are not nearly as fun to get as Dark Souls 1 and 2. Then there's the Master of Rings achievement, as well as getting all of the pyromancies, sorceries, and miracles. A good portion of all the covenants in the game have items that you need to get 100%, whether that's a ring or one of the aforementioned pyromancies, sorceries, or miracles. Each covenant requires you to get at least 30 unique currency in order to trade in for the items you need. And the drop rate for all of these currencies is about 1 to 2%. Unless you are the luckiest person on the planet, you will be grinding for longer than you would have ever thought possible. 3 out of 10, not worth getting them. The combination of score is a 13 out of 30. Let's go to the podium. So overall, in 3rd place, shocking no one, 13 out of 30, Dark Souls 3. Would not recommend grinding in this game. Would not recommend going for all the achievements in this game. Your time is better spent doing literally anything else. And weirdly enough, something that you might not have expected. In 2nd place is Dark Souls 1 with a score of 19 out of 30. It is a game that's more succinct and concise, and if you use a walkthrough and you give yourself the ability to duplicate items, you will have a decent time. Go for it if you feel like it. And then in 1st place, again, another unexpected win for Dark Souls 2, 24 out of 30. I know, I didn't expect this either, but this is the only game where I would be genuinely close to recommending getting every single achievement here. The world is by far the most interesting to explore. The ways of grinding are the most interesting and have some of the more unique ways to go about them. And you're not required to grind out for months at a time just for some stupid rings. If you want to 100% any game in the Dark Souls trilogy, have it be Dark Souls 2 because you will probably have the best time doing it. Overall, there we go. That's those 3 games all done. Let me know in the comments what you think about each of these games' achievements. If you think there's a particular one that you have enjoyed getting or that you think is stupid and should be gone. I hope everyone had a good time watching my slow descent into why I will never recommend anyone grind for Dark Souls 3. That's it, and look out for the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe, check out another Dark Souls related video, and I will see everyone next time.